Hello and welcome to this episode of Rapid Meets. Today we're bringing the spotlight on a Nollywood actor, but he's not just an actor, he's now a movie producer. No other person but Baaj Adegbule.
What do you mean you can't cook? Because you're going to work. I'm not going to work, Abby.
Mofe here is the love of my life. And I'd love to spend the rest of my life with her.
How many actually make it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the new body in town, the Easy Cook. No, there's nothing to worry about. It's just the fans that I'll just...
Let's talk about your acting skills. Baaj, you are very good at what you do. And you have grown from not just being an actor, even though you still act, to now being behind the camera. But talk to me about how this whole thing started for you.
The answer to that question has changed over the years. I thought it started with when I went for an audition and then I got my first film role and I got sizzled out there. I thought that's where it started from. Until I remembered I did one small play when I was doing NYC camp. And I really enjoyed that. And I thought that was where it started from. And then I remembered that when I was very little, it was actually my sisters that had been reminding me. I always loved watching films and I loved how films made them feel. So I think maybe that's when it started. And it was just one little bit that grew over the years. And then when I now became an adult and I started working, I realized maybe this is not what I want to do as far as 9 to 5 is concerned, but what do I want? Start experimenting, did a little engineering, did a little accounting, a little... I haven't did over this actually. Covered red carpets and I did a little bit of that, and then I finally got a small role on Tinsel. And I'm like, yeah, this.
And it's still on till now.
Imagine.
It's still on.
Yeah, like, the whole time when they were doing, I think, reruns, or not even reruns, I think they're just showing some old episodes just to, for excitement and everything. And they showed one that was there, I could not believe the male watch it.
But that's the power of growth and that's the power of consistency. But Baaj, if you were to describe your journey in the last couple of years, how would you describe it?
It was, I think, one of the things I've always been grateful for, which has always kept me going. Even when I'm feeling depressed or down, I have a little self-doubt about the fact that I'm not where I want to be. The thing that has always been good was I could think back to a year or a year before that or 2 or 3 years back, and I could always say I've gotten better in every single aspect, both skills, both status, both the kind of projects they're doing. There's always been a progression. There's always been an upward movement. So as long as that's been there, it's always helped me just keep going, keep pushing, keep going up there. So it's been a good journey.
Let's talk about the craft itself. Now, I'm not sure you studied theater arts.
So I did.
I'm not sure. Did you go for, we've gone for a couple of trainings here and there. But let's talk about the act itself, because not every people think it's so easy to do it until they turn on the camera and you have people behind and they're telling you action.
Yeah.
Then you understand, oh, okay, I'm in for it.
Yeah, I think I was one of those people.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I started off with that assumption, and I learned pretty quickly that was incredibly wrong.
So what have you done over the years?
Okay, I came in with the usual passion every young man or every young person comes into it with. You love it, you're excited, so you just get into it, and then you realize there are a lot of little bitty things that are like a million of them that you have to learn to do it properly. And then you now go back and start learning this little thing. And maybe after a couple of months, maybe depending on who you are, you then start doing it properly. They start getting better. They start having conversations with people and they start telling you that, girl, you're really good. If you go down this path, it could get better, like that. And that's pretty much how my own journey was. I think it was after like 2 years that I finally started hearing that it might actually become something great with this line of work, which blew my mind, because when I started out, it was the exact opposite. It was maybe you should find another line of work. So, but I think the first director that did that for me, I think it was Imori Morin. And he finished a TV series and he was like, you have what it takes to be an exceptional actor, which was surprising to me because at that moment I was still trying to find my bearings. Then I worked with Ola, Jay Babatope, and they were like, okay, just keep at it, keep working. And in no time you're definitely going to be hitting the heights that you're hoping to hit someday. So now that it's happening, or it's been happening for a while now, actually, there's that feeling of, I can't believe I didn't even believe them when they say. I thought they were just being nice, they were just trying to like keep your hopes up. But I'm glad they said those things, because at moments when you're, especially Monday mornings, where you're at your house and you don't have any work, it's very depressing, very heartbreaking. But you then remember that soul somewhere told you that if you keep practicing, keep rehearsing, keep learning, it's going to work. It's going to open up for you. So that's the good part.
But when was the breakthrough moment for you? So I know that there are a lot of persons who are in this industry, stayed longer than you have stayed, and not as, I wouldn't say lucky, maybe as not as graceful, or you just have things working for you, even though I know that you would have your doubt times. But when was that breakthrough moment for you? Today you walk into rooms, you do not necessarily need to introduce yourself. So when was that breakthrough moment for you?
I think the most pivotal one had to be Hush. I know before Hush, I was kind of known in the industry, more like known by maybe some writers, some producers, some actors, but definitely not a household name. No one knows you on the street, nothing like that. But it was then Hush came out, and it was a couple of months Hush had been running, and you have children, families is just running up to you, just happy to see you. So it was really surprising at the time. Let's say it was really, so yeah, it was definitely Hush, because it was showing every day, and it was pretty much, I think, the best show in Africa at that time. Yeah, it was, and I was one of the leads, so you get to see me almost every, see me every day. Still, it was definitely Hush. It was a great show. It was a really great show. The cast was amazing. R&B, and
Yeah.
it was a great show, and it was a great learning curve, because I think it came at the perfect time, because at the time, still remember, I met Sheba Tope at the vet, and I was trying to like introduce myself. So he put me in the text film. I was like, yeah, I've seen you. I know you. You was in, but like, no one knows you. No, he is very blunt, and that he just needs me to focus on my acting and then try to get myself on projects. I'll put my face out there.
It's interesting that you say no one knows you. And perhaps that was a determining factor for him, right?
Yeah.
And it speaks to what happens to people, young talents who are literally just coming up and they're trying to, create a path for themselves. What happens to people like that? It's as though you have to come out big. And if you don't come out big, if you're not all over the screen, then there's nothing for you. Assuming you didn't keep at it, assuming you did not continue with, what you've been doing, I'm wondering what would have happened at that time.
The thing is, that's how it's always been, though. Even the audience, they want to see a face that they're already familiar with. They want to see someone that they have an emotional connection to. That's usually what it is. So when you're about to watch a film and you see a particular actor that you already like, or you're supposed to style, like, oh, wow, this guy, I was seeing again. That's usually how it works. So that would obviously always be a factor. But one thing that is always going to help is if you by yourself, your house, or your own moments, you're working it, so you're getting better. So when that particular role comes and you kill it, they now become big. Because if Hush had come at a time when, because that actually happened, there's a project I did early on and I wasn't ready for it, skill-wise, mentality, maturity, I just wasn't there yet. But Hush came at a time when I'd spent enough time learning and growing and doing some little projects here and there. If you just do day players, do maybe a couple of scenes, do a show that no one has even seen, but we got to learn things. I'd done enough of that put me in a place where I was now mature, as skillful enough to handle something that big, which is why I know it's time when Hutch came, because it was a lot. You're shooting Mondays, sometimes to Saturdays. At CCAB, they are shooting continuously, Monday to night. So if you've not really gathered the skills to be able to handle that, you probably have messed it up, because we don't shoot chronologically. So you could be shooting, maybe the scene now is you and your girlfriend are in love. The next scene, your girlfriend had died. And the scene after that, you're going back to when you're in love. And you have to hit those beats just like that. You can't, they don't have time to play. Sharp. So if you've not grown enough to handle that, you would have gotten it at the wrong time. And next thing now, you'll be popular, but you'll be a popular bad actor.
Ew.
Yeah. So there's you want to have your big break and everything, but just hope that you get
They prepare.
when you're ready for it, so you don't end up screwing it up. Because once you are a popular bad actor, it's very, very hard to change that. takes a lot of time to change.
So, Baaj, over the years, you've grown from just being an actor to now being a movie producer yourself. Walk me through what exactly happened and why you made that decision to, become a movie producer yourself.
That was actually supposed to be the real journey. The acting was not supposed to be there at all because I didn't think I was good enough to do it. Yeah, so I just wanted it to be people behind camera just working there, and I'll slowly work my way into making my own film and everything. Then my uncle was like, I'll just be acting too now. Just so you'll be doing everything. And coincidentally, the acting kept like drawing me in more, I kept being afraid to make film because making films, it's a lot of money. Yeah, even the money part. Yes, the money part is important, but especially when you put your heart and soul into it, it's like entering into a relationship that would most likely break your heart, but you still have to do it. So it's heart-wrenching. So it takes a lot. All the acting, because of how we do it in Nigeria, is done on such short periods of time that it does have such a toll. So that kind of took more of my time than the filmmaking. But eventually, I need to get back to what I really want to do because I also really love making film. So eventually, I made a couple of short films, did a pilot here and there. Then finally, I'm like, okay, this time let's make a full film, which is what we did in 2020, 2021. It's premiered at Hafif, it was my break.
Speaking of streaming platforms, quite a number of lanes have happened in the industry. Now, just to break it down, the Nollywood industry, there's been a lot of changes. Now you have streaming platforms. Now you have the cinemas where people can watch movies. But I'm going to ask you what you think about the growth that has happened in Nollywood industry. What do you make of it? And when you compare it to, what is happening globally, do you think we're doing well?
It's kind of like that. I usually say kind of like taking 2 steps forward or 3 steps back. That's kind of how we go with it, which is terrible, which means you're going to move really slowly. I think now might be the 3-step backward era, fortunately.
What is that?
Well, there was a time when we were really celebrating the arrival of the Netflix and video, and that's, I think, of 2020, 2021. And we thought we were about to take like a giant leap forward, and then they left. So now it feels like they're now back, and now I think we pretty much put all our effort into YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. It's just, I don't think something that will take us to where we really want to be.
So what is that thing you think would take us to where we want to be? Currently, I know that they now have, is it Every Live Cinema? Brother. So when I listened to her, I'm talking about Auntie Mo, when I listened to her talking, she made mention of the fact that now you can walk into the cinema and see an African and Nigerian film. Well, what do you think that we need to do, to get to occupy that? Because again, it's way beyond Africa. It's way beyond Nigeria. So exactly. And so when investors see what we're capable of, that's what would bring them in. Yeah. But what do you think we need to do?
I think it's the same thing we've been trying to do since we started, which is trying to make great work. There's really no substitute for being able to make great work because we always want to see a great film. We always want to see a great TV show. Once there's a great TV show, that film will speak for itself when it comes to mind. When it comes to people wanting to see it. We always give examples like Squid Game or Parasite or even if we go back as a City of God and all these films. What made those films fantastic was that the films themselves were fantastic. So it's really come down to us, which I guess I'm pointing the finger at myself as well. Being able to make the kind of projects that can definitely scale up in a way that's when you're watching a Hollywood film or a Bollywood film or a South Korean film and you're not watching a Nigerian film, you don't feel like you did. Even if the production quality is not on the same level because of the finances, you don't feel like the difference is so large that you have to restructure your brain just to appreciate this one. You still know that you're watching a great film with great characters, with great cinematography. So it's really down to there's the structure, obviously, but the product definitely has to be what.
How would you describe quality of films now compared to back maybe like 10 years ago?
We've always been improving. That's a good part. We always try to get better. We always try to learn new things. Try to get better skilled workers, get better equipment. We're always trying to do that. That's always a good thing. And actors, well, they're good actors. They're decent actors. We're always trying to do better. But it's rather obvious that we're not anywhere close to doing our best. So there's the improvement, obviously. But yeah, there's still a lot of improvement.
Your acting journey, you've played several roles, but what is that particular character or role that you feel like, oh, this part any day, anytime, am I going to role? Lover boy, a terrible person in
I get that to avoid those roles. To be honest, like I said, I like role like an obsess over. It's very hard to obsess over something you've already done, especially if you've done it quite a number of times. You now try to see there's a different way you can do it, but can't really obsess over it because a huge part of the character's core is going to be similar to something else. Because we don't tend to stretch in our writing when it comes to Nollywood. Try to keep it as familiar as humanly possible. So it's now you as the actor that now try to add some few things just to make it look different. So it doesn't feel like you're watching the same character over and over again. So yeah, actually I usually would avoid those kind of roles. Second one, I love him so much. I've never been asked to play anything like that ever. So I could assess and doubt myself about it and go back and forth and call Michael every day to be asking, and I will do like just be bothering everybody in my life just because I need to get this role right. It's perfect because now I can't think about anything else. I just wake up in the morning. You should say that's
so you literally you get yourself into that space where you memorize your lines, get yourself into character even when you're not on set. So what's the process like for you?
once I'm able to have everything else like set, the lines just because this is the thing. The lines, especially if it's a well-written script, the conversations are going to be based up of kind of person the character is. So once you're able to really have a firm grasp of that guy, sometimes you say something naturally that is already in the script. You know why, but somehow your mind is so geared into the way the character thinks that you're not even really saying lines anymore. Yeah, even the lines are on the script. You've read it, you've memorized it and everything. But it's so into how you're talking that you're not memorizing anything anymore. You're just talking.
How many films have you done, Baaj?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
The reason I asked this question is because we had a conversation off camera, and I was talking about the fact is the act or the art of acting, is it really lucrative? So I feel like for anyone who is in this industry, you have to really love it. You have to really be passionate about it. But how can we take it so a notch higher? So that's to that point where it's someone's source of livelihood, source of income, and you're okay.
You have to have a lot of money come into it. I think that was the most heartbreaking part of the whole Netflix and HBO thing not working out, because that was an international body coming in. And for us to be talking about that kind of money is to be making the kind of films or having the kind of budgets that Hollywood and Bollywood have.
Yeah.
That's how you then get to earn that kind of money. So if that's not there, you now have only the Nigerian aspect. And Nigeria doesn't have money. No money here. As far as that's concerned. Oh, specifically as far as Nollywood. I think comedy and music, they've raised to crack it and there's money.
Yeah.
But Nollywood is still finding its feet. So it still has to do with growth. Hopefully one day we grow to be kind of industry where an actor doesn't have to do 4 or 5 films or more. Terrible. I don't think it's sustainable. I think it's a terrible idea, but we've always been that way right from like time where even we were doing VHS. That's always been like that.
I love it. You know, it's interesting that you talk about movies that you really love and it is taking you out of your shell, you know. But real quick, I want us to also talk about where you see yourself. I mean, do you intend to, outside of Nigeria?
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that.
Well, I grew up watching Hollywood films. You know, yes, we watched a lot of Nigerian films back then, but we watch what everybody else is watching. You're too young to pick the film you can watch. I grew up watching a lot of films that were from Hollywood. And then as I got older, I got into Indian films, I got into South Korean films, I got into Brazilian films and European films. And you end up having this yearning to work with those people. It's not really a case of, you want to work with them because you don't think like Nollywood is good enough for anything. It's more of that yearning to experience different cultures, different storylines. We want to learn from people across the world, especially now that you're lucky enough to be born to a time that everything is so internationally connected. Social media really makes you feel like you can touch someone on the other side of the planet. So that's really what I would love to do. I'm really looking forward.
Is there a particular producer, actor, or
Just in the menu.
know that you'd love to work with?
When you're that side, it's it. And kids increasing every day because what will always happen, there always going to be new film, there always going to be new actors, there needs to be new producers, new directors, new filmmakers. And you watch a film, and like, who did this film? And now you added sort to your list of hundreds of people that you want to work with. They're always work. No young or old.
But just as we wrap up today's interview, I would really love to know, what is your mantra? What is your word? What is that thing that you'd always say to yourself, regardless of what is happening around you?
When I turned 20, I hated my first 20 years on earth because it felt like I had not picked the life that I'd lived. Like, that whole 20 years felt like, which is normal because you're living with their parents, they determine pretty much everything you're doing. So I felt like I had not lived the life that I wanted. And I felt I want to, if I get to live to a ripe old age, I want to look back and know that the life I've lived, I picked it, and I'm proud of the life I've lived. So anytime I'm thinking about anything, I'm trying to do anything, I will try to remind myself that I don't want a situation that I get old and I regret the life I've lived, because that's what you have. All you have to live like. Yes, people believe in the afterlife and heaven and hell and all that, but what you know is this is it. This is it. This is all you get to have. And I'm afraid of being an old guy that feels like I wasted my time here. So I always try to remind myself to just do the best you can with whatever you have with you. Try to just live the best life you possibly can in every single way. Family, career, friendship, whatever it is, just make sure you're living the life that you can be proud of at the end of the day.
And this is where we'll let the curtain fall on today's episode of Rapid Myths. My guests have done justice to the conversation. My name is Estelle Mello. See you on our next episode of Rapid Myths.